Right now, CBS New York's Book Club with Mary Calvi.
Tis the season.
Carrie Claire Tolliver couldn't remember a time when the smell of a Fraser fir tree didn't make her smile.
The spirit of the holidays is at the heart of the latest novel by best-selling author Mary Andrews, Bright Lights, Big Christmas.
I sort of want to bring the happy.
And it's the CBS New York Book Club's Reader's Choice. Hello, welcome to our November Book Club meetup. These are members of our Facebook group. We read books together that have a tri-state connection in their plots or authors. Bright Lights, Big Christmas is about a woman from a small town in the South who comes to New York City and discovers love, community, and herself. The story resonated with our club.
Each character became part of a family. It was truly a wonderful book.
The elderly gentleman in the book, the young man and his young son, I just feel like they're people that we know, and I feel like those are the best kind of books to read, especially this time of year.
I love the fact that it embraced change across everybody in the story. Seemed to be going through some sort of change, no matter what their situation was or what their experience was.
There were serious parts with the relationships between the characters, but in her books, just her sense of humor just shines through.
That's what I love about Mary Andrews. She always makes me feel like she's writing about kindness and about the bigger sense of humanity.
Our readers have more to say on our meetup and on our Facebook page. Book Club producer Danielle Parker will share some of their questions and comments during the show. Hi, Danielle.
Hi, Mary. One of our readers named Judy wrote that she thought Bright Lights, Big Christmas was a heartwarming story for anyone's holiday season. But the characters also deal with feelings of loss and loneliness and how relatives can seem like strangers, while strangers can seem like family. There's a lot to talk about, Mary.
Thanks, Danielle. Fans of Mary Andrews feel like they know a lot about her life. She writes about family, and her books are as cozy as a warm fire. She also likes to go antiquing, or junking, as she calls it, and we met up at the Antique Emporium of Asbury Park, New Jersey. How about we start here?
Yeah, I've always loved vintage Christmas, the stuff that ends up in people's attics.
It's like opening a box of secrets.
Yeah, it is. It's totally a box of secrets. Somebody's, maybe somebody's grandma made this. This is a homemade ornament. And people would sit and craft these. These little pearls are all applied with straight pins. So
honestly, I was very envious of your character, being able to just craft from anything. It's like, here's a fruit crate, let me add some artichoke and apples, and it's this gorgeous design.
Well, she's living in a camper in the West Village on the streets, and so she has to figure out how to make something from nothing.
She makes it work.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the creative urge, to make something from nothing.
No one does Christmas better than Mary Andrews. Her 5 holiday novels have been mega successes, including her latest, Bright Lights, Big Christmas, which was voted as the CBS New York Book Club's Reader's Choice.
Carrie discovered that she was already recalling fond memories of the weeks she and her family had spent in the little canned ham camper of her childhood.
The small town girl goes to the big city, and she doesn't just find love, that's good, but she finds herself.
It dawned on her that in less than a month, these few crowded city blocks had become her home, and these strangers now felt like neighbors.
You're really rooting for her throughout the book.
I want characters that my readers can relate to, that they would be friends with and want to have a glass of wine with.
I did.
Yeah, and I want to create, the setting of the book is very important to me. I want to create a world that you want to come live in. Even if it's a little tiny camper in the West Village and it's cold and there's no heat.
Walking through the Antique Emporium in Asbury Park, it is clear that inspiration can come from anywhere and through anything. I think your main character would love a place like this.
Yeah, she totally would. She totally would. And I love creating stories from portraits that I discover along the way. And this lady totally inspired me. I make them my faux ancestors. So this is my great aunt Enid.
Hello,
and
Aunt
Enid was a notorious cheat.
Oh, really?
At cards. You see her hands, how long her fingers are, right?
Right.
So she was really good with the cards.
I bet she was.
Yeah.
Trickster.
She got kicked out of a lot of bridge clubs.
She looks like she may have.
Right, so she had to blow town, and she moved to Boca, as one does.
About how long does it take you to write a novel like Bright Lights, Big Christmas?
Well, it's about the same gestation period as a human baby. So it's about 9 months.
Yeah.
And I have all the stretch marks to prove that I have birthed 32 baby books. This is a dream I had as a little girl. I always wanted to be a writer. In first grade, the teacher asked us all to draw pictures of what we wanted to be when we grew up. And the other little girls around me drew pictures of ballerinas and nurses and school teachers. And the boys drew cowboys and police officers and firemen. And I drew a picture of a lady sitting at a tall desk in front of a wall of books. And I said, I'm going to be a writer when I grow up.
Her career started as a newspaper journalist and 30 years ago transitioned into the world of literature. We had the opportunity to continue talking about her writing process at the Saint Laurent Social Club.
Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Welcome to the Saint Laurent.
Do you know the end of your story before you start your story?
I know physically where I want my story to go. I write a synopsis to start with, and it's like a roadmap of where I'm going with my story, what the world looks like. But then when I start, it's sort of like being in a dark forest, and I don't have my brights on, and it's foggy. All I can see is what's right in front of me. But I keep going.
Her biggest advice is to find inspiration in the littlest of things.
I can't wait for inspiration. There's somebody standing over my shoulder saying, I need that book, I need that story. And so I might write all day and throw half of it away, or maybe I keep it all, or I only keep a paragraph. But the idea that you go and you write, and then you revise, and then you polish, and that's a gift that journalism gives you.
Mary Kay Andrews joining me now from your home. So good to see you again, Mary Kay.
Good to see you too, Mary.
Oh, and congratulations on the success of the now New York Times best-selling novel, Bright Lights, Big Christmas.
Thank you so much, and thanks to everybody who bought it.
Are we joining you in the place where you do some of your writing? We're in your home. It looks like maybe your office.
Yeah, this is my home office, and behind me, you know, I have framed copies. I have my book jackets framed, and also my New York Times bestseller list framed to remind myself when it gets hard that I've done it before and I'll do it again.
Well, many, many novels, 30 novels, one cookbook. Did you ever imagine when you were a little girl dreaming of becoming a writer that you would have such a remarkable career?
No, I really didn't. I wanted to write. I thought I'd be a newspaper reporter because I didn't know little girls like me could write books. So I kind of limited the scope of my dream until I guess when I got older and I thought, you know what? Let me look outside that.
Well, it is quite incredible with journalism that you learn the deadlines and you learn to be able to meet those deadlines. Did that help you along the way?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I gave myself a deadline for my first book, Every Crooked Nanny. I was still working full time at the newspaper here in Atlanta. I had 2 little kids, but I had to work. I gave myself a time to work on Wednesday nights. And I gave myself a deadline, 1 year. I gave myself 1 year to write that book, and I did it.
Okay, well, I need to ask you about your very first book because it didn't publish from what I understand. What lessons did you learn from that, and how did that help you on this incredible journey?
Well, I don't have an MFA in creative writing. I have an unpublished book. And so it taught me that I could do it. It taught me story structure. It taught me how to write dialogue. It taught me how to submit a book and query an agent. And, you know, along the way, when it didn't sell, it also taught me not to embrace failure, but to understand that it wasn't failure, that it was just another step in the way. So when that one didn't sell, I started another one. And that book, Every Crooked Nanny, sold based just on 5 chapters.
Oh, wow.
That's all I had, 5 chapters.
Mary Kay, incredible. We're going to go over to Danielle Parker and hear what our book club members have to say about all of this.
Oh, this has been amazing. Just that little lesson that Mary Kay just said about you can learn from failure, that failure is a lesson. I hope every reader, every writer out there really hears that. Well, Mary, some of our members were new to Mary Kay Andrews, and others are longtime fans of MKA, as she's known to her repeat readers. Kate from Thunder Road Books in Spring Lake, New Jersey says what she likes about Mary Kay's books is that MKA comes from a Southern family and that shines through her writing. Kate also admires Mary Kay's energy.
I want to know where she draws her inspiration to keep a positive outlook on her writing and on her demeanor. And she just has this like get up and go attitude. And it's something that I really admire in her.
All right, Mary Kay, we have to ask you that. Where do you get your energy from?
Diet Coke every morning.
The caffeine helps for sure.
I come from a long line of strong Southern women, and failure is not an option for the women in my family. We just go through it. You know, the motto is you have to go through it to get through it.
Hey, that's for sure.
So that's what we do.
You know, it does seem that you put so much of yourself in your books, also the places you know into your books. Tell us a little bit about that and where you find your ideas.
Well, the ideas come from everywhere. The idea for Bright Lights Big Christmas came from a New York Times story I read several years ago about a family from Vermont who set up a camper in Abingdon Square in the West Village, lived in that camper and sold trees for a year. And so that I kind of, you know, filed that away. And last year when I decided to write a Christmas book, I thought, I'm going to find them. And I went to New York and I found Billy Romp, who's still coming to New York, to the West Village, and I interviewed him. And my story's different, but the germ of the idea came from that. That idea came about because I was watching a lot of HGTV home improvement shows during COVID. And as I was watching one, I thought, I wonder if there's ever been a show called Home Wreckers. And I, you know, from there I thought, okay, if there hasn't been one, I'll create one and I'll write a novel about that.
You know, just the idea of coming to the place where you are going to base your novel. I know for you, it's a tradition to come to New York City at Christmas time. Tell us about your journey and when you come up here and what you like to do when you're in Manhattan.
Well, my husband and I, our anniversary is Thanksgiving weekend. So for many years, we would go up weekend after Thanksgiving. Always see a Broadway show because I'm a huge theater buff. We like to go to a little Italian restaurant in Murray Hill called Rossini. It's an old school Italian red sauce house, and we love it. I love to go see the Big Tree at Rockefeller Plaza. Shop down Fifth Avenue with the department store lights, the department store windows all lit up. We go out to, is it the Brooklyn Botanical Garden where they have the train show?
Yeah, in the Bronx, yes.
Yeah, love to do that. We take the train out there. And my favorite thing is a big expense account lunch with my publisher from HarperCollins, Jennifer Enderlin.
I'm sure Jennifer loves it too.
My agent, Stuart Krzyzewski, and Jen and I and our team go and have a great rosé lunch and touch base with the team. And, you know, there's so many things I love to do when I go to the city. It's a treat for the Southern girl.
Well, it really sounds so lovely. We have more questions from our book club members. So, Danielle?
Okay, that lunch sounds fun.
I know, I want to go too.
Exactly.
We wanted to invite Mary Kay.
Exactly. And you know, Bright Lights Big Christmas has a cast of characters from all across all age groups, from children to the more elderly, and each has their own quirks and complications. So Alexandria has a question about whether Mary Kay had an age group in mind for readers of this book.
What's the demographic? Because I found that she avoided conflict intentionally, seemingly, and she avoided anything that may have been perceived as melodramatic. So she left sex out, and she left DRUGS's out. I wonder if that's intentional to maintain a kind of peaceful feel.
We really love that question, Mary Kay. So the SEX you left out. Would you ever consider writing a different style of romance?
Oh, well, there is an SCENE off CAMERA in Bright Lights, Big Christmas. My characters are consenting adults, and they do the things that consenting adults do, but in a tasteful way. In a Christmas book, for me, I don't want to make my readers feel uncomfortable. So I want, of course, there to be romance and warmth and some spice, but not too spicy.
So tell us about this romance in the book. We were waiting and waiting. Will it work out? Was that intentional? Were you hoping for us to just keep turning the pages and waiting for them to get together? Yeah.
Absolutely. I think of it as the moonlighting method of writing. You build it up, and you make the readers keep turning the pages, because if I put my protagonist and the love interest together in chapter 3, what happens after that? I mean, do they go buy a house in the suburbs and get a mom van? Even though that's what most of us do, readers want the sense that there's some sparkle and there's some possibility. And so, yeah, and plus, she's living in a van. Not a van, but she's living in a camper. And they do try to have a little romantic scene in there. It doesn't work out real well. So I love that sense of delaying satisfaction.
Well, when we come back, readers want to know if Bright Lights, Big Christmas is really the end of the story for those characters. First, we asked our members of the club, how long did it take you to read this book?
I read it over 2 days. It was a fantastic read.
It took about 5 hours to read.
Maybe 3-4 days. I was busy with work, but I loved the book.
I stretched it out to about 8 days because I would stop myself from continuing because I didn't want to get to the end of the book, because I started feeling like I knew these people and they were my friends.
I wanted to stretch it out like a couple of you said, but you know what? I blew through it in 2 days and I loved every minute of it.
Right now, CBS New York's Book Club with Mary Calvi.
Welcome back to our meetup. Mary Kay, had such fun with you on our shopping trip. I felt like the envy of every Mary Kay fan antiquing with you, and I did love that leopard hat. Just fabulous. Oh, you look wonderful. You know what I really loved? Oh, there we go. Let's finish it off. You are so much fun. Oh my goodness. And how true it is that ideas really come from everywhere. So many people wait for this inspiration, but you just go out and get it.
Yeah. I think for me, it's like ion charged molecules in the air. If you stay inside, you don't get that. But if you go out in the world and keep your eyes open and your ears tuned, it comes from everywhere, I think.
And you have such a wonderful opportunity to meet so many of your readers. You have these incredible book tours around the country. What do you take from those? And I wonder if you're inspired by the readers that you get a chance to meet.
I absolutely am inspired by the readers I get a chance to meet. I gave a book talk recently to a group of women, and I talked about, not always succeeding at what you do. And I talked about, women especially, we're not taught to ask for what we want or what we need. And I talked about the fact that I finally had to put on my big girl panties and say, here's what I need. Here's what I need to do my job. And here's what I think I've earned. And a woman came up to me afterwards and she said, my daughter's trying to start a business and it hasn't gone well. She's had to move home with her family. But she said, she went out, my daughter's outside crying because she said, you spoke to her and you said, just keep trying. Mm-hmm. You miss 100% of the swings that you don't take, as my husband's favorite sports metaphor.
One of the things that I was really so excited to hear is that here you were, a journalist, and you had this incredible idea to get into the literary world. You have children at home. You're taking time to write a novel. I mean, it was quite incredible for you to decide, I'm going to do this. I mean, it's a dream and I'm going to go after it.
Yeah, I was helped along by the fact that my career wasn't going great. And I had editors who I felt like I was being thwarted. And I thought, all right, I can either go home and cry, or I can start tunneling out. I'll put together a plan. How am I going to do this? I'm going to write a chapter every week. And after that, I'll write another chapter and another chapter. And so I had to be very intentional about how I was going to go out and go for it.
Well, you did it. You did it. And how about we check back in with our book club members? Danielle?
Yes, I love these life lessons, no matter what. Take that advice. I mean, I'm going to take that advice. Just small, incremental movement, no matter what you want. It could make you a best-selling author or whatever you'd like to do. And readers, in fact, felt like they were walking the streets of the West Village as Carrie navigated her way around the area where she and her brother sold their Christmas trees in Mary Kay's book. And the holiday theme inspired our club member named Joe for our Zoom meetup. Here's his question for Mary Kay.
Did she always have her heart set on the West Village, or were there other neighborhoods she considered putting the tree farm in? I was just curious because it seemed like a perfect setting, but I know there are a lot of little neighborhoods in New York where this would have fit well too.
Really could have been anywhere. How did you decide on this one, Mary Kay?
Well, actually, I decided on that neighborhood because that's where the tree stand that inspired my story was located. And so I went there and hung out and interviewed the Christmas tree stand owner who came from Vermont, and and I went to North Carolina and interviewed a Christmas tree grower. And so for me, research is really important, and I really want to get the setting right. Now, I live in Atlanta, so I was really fortunate that I could say to my agent, "Could you go over there?" Because he lives in the city. Could you go over there and check out where this was? And I'm terrible with directions. I get lost leaving my hotel room. But, if people wanted to, after Thanksgiving, they can go look on the corner of Jane and 8th in the Village, and they'll probably find the Rump family selling their trees.
Oh, isn't that fantastic? How often do you base your protagonists on real life people?
Not very often. And the story isn't based on him especially. It's based on the fact that they lived in this camper for a month because they don't grow their trees. And their family is quite different from Carrie's. But, I start with the glimmer of an idea, the spark, a seed of an idea, and then it kind of takes root in my mind. And then, I people it with characters, mostly from my imagination. So, Murphy Tolliver, for instance, is very different from the family who sells trees, and there is no Carrie. But, for instance, names, people always ask me about the names. Carrie Clare is named after the counties. My grandparents were first generation Irish, and my grandfather was from County Kerry, and I always thought, someday I'm going to name a character Carrie Clare, because I thought my grandmother was from Clare. Turns out she's from Armagh.
Oh, well, that might not have worked as well, but
no,
next
so
book, right? We have more questions from our book club members. Let's send it over to Danielle.
Well, Mary, speaking of the next book, Bright Lights, Big Christmas is a novella. It's about 278 pages. And as we heard, some readers just raced through it because they liked it so much. Others took their time to savor every moment. But after reading the last page, our book club member named Lori did not want the story to end. She wanted it to continue for Carrie, for Patrick, for Murphy, and for everyone else. Here's her question.
It is my first time reading Mary Kay Andrews, so I don't know if she carries her characters forward into other novels. I don't have a history of knowing that, but this novel ended on so much hope. You want to see them again. Will
we meet them again, Mary Kay?
Stay tuned.
Oh, really?
I've learned to never say never. I wrote a book called Savannah Blues years ago, and I thought and people love the characters, and I said, nope, I'm not going to write a sequel. Then I wrote 3 sequels.
It's been so special to read your book with so many other Mary Kay fans, and there's something extraordinary about just joining together and experiencing the Tolliver story with others. Book clubs have been a part of your life for a long time too, haven't they?
Yeah, I've been in the same book club. I think we've been together for over 30 years. Now, half the club decamped and moved down to the Georgia coast, but we still get together and we talk about books. And in fact, our Christmas book party is coming up at my house. So everybody comes here, and my husband and I make special stuff, and we have a book giveaway. And I think all of us look forward to that. It's not just, it's the community that books, I think, inspire. And that's what I want to inspire in my books. I hope my books inspire people to reach out to the book community and find some kind of common bond between all of us.
Yeah, there is such a unity in it. We're going to take a quick break. So what does Mary Kay Andrews have planned next? We will ask her for ourselves when we come back. But first, have you ever wondered what it takes to grow and sell Christmas trees? One of our club members named Lori has visited the area in North Carolina that Mary Kay writes about and had a show and tell during our meetup with our Facebook group.
Look at the size of this pine cone. It's huge. So when I was reading the book, of course, it took me right back to the beautiful pine forest. And she did such a good job describing the trees.
When I read a book, I like to escape from my own world. I also like to learn something. And I found this very useful in learning about a Christmas tree business. She tells you exactly where to go, how much to charge.
I think Carrie was unhappy, because she was also challenged by this new job. You know, her father was sick, her mom, they were divorced, the mom's taking care of the dad. So she stepped into a role that she was not used to.
One of the things that I liked was when she started making the wreaths. And if you really know New York City, you know that there's a flower district. And you can wander through that, and she did, but that's where she started to make some of her money.
Right now, CBS New York's Book Club with Mary Calvi.
And welcome back to Mary Kay Andrews. We've had so much fun reading your novel, Bright Lights, Big Christmas. I know our book club members are eagerly awaiting your next release. What can you tell us about what's to come?
It's called Summers at the Saint. It'll be out the first week in May of 2024. I can't believe I'm saying 2024. I'm putting the finishing touches on it right now, and it takes place at a very high-end family-owned resort on the coast of Georgia. There's an old unsolved death, there's a new murder, and a budding romance.
Oh, I'm really looking forward to this. Summers at the Saint, available May 7th, I understand, 2024. Summer beach read for sure. Mary Kay, it's been such a pleasure to talk with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and don't forget that folks can get signed copies of the book at Booktown in Manasquan, New Jersey. They can call up and order, and they'll ship.
Oh, that's so wonderful. And tell me, are you writing right now?
I am. Oh my gosh, yes.
Of course. Yes. So keep us posted. We want to hear everything that you're doing. It's been such a pleasure to spend so much time with you. Since you were named the Reader's Choice, thousands of people had the opportunity to vote, and they wanted to read your book. So so glad we were part of your celebration as your book published. Congratulations.
Thanks, Mary.
Well, we've had so much fun, Danielle, talking with Mary Kay, and also our book club members. Everybody's been so involved and so wonderful participating.
This has been fabulous. Time just went by so fast. Like, where did it go? Like, the book went by fast, this went by fast, and we hope that everybody comes out and joins Club Calvi. Join our Facebook group. Read along with us.
Thanks so much for joining us today for our book club meetup. Much more to come as we announced our next 3 fic picks. Stay tuned. Thanks so much for joining us today.